Okay. So, so far, we started talking about strings, right? And we discussed how to perform indexing, right? So if I have a string, which is, say, good evening, right? And if I need first member, so how do I get it? I say str1 of 0, correct? If I need last, I'll say print str1 of -1, right? If I need last three ing, what should I do? Colon last three -3 0. Okay, and you will, it's not u1, it's u1. Okay, right? So this is how we do indexing. Now, there are functions that we have been talking about, right? We spoke about int, float functions, right? That converts the data type into integer or float. We spoke about print input, right? So these are called functions, okay? Because they are meant to do certain type of job. Now, when you create a class, what is a class? Class, okay, we've been talking about class, int, class, float. You know, in a crude manner, class is nothing but collection of variables and functions together under one name. Okay, so you create a class and you say these are my variables, these are my functions. Okay, that's a very crude way of saying what is class. Class, in a way, is a practical approach that we follow. Now, see here. In object-oriented programming language, where objects are important, where individuals are important. Okay. Like, in real life too, this is how individuals are important. Like I am an entity, right? Everybody is a different single person. We don't do only training. We do 100 other things in life, right? Training is one such, in a way, you can say function where we all come together, we do it, and then we walk out, right? But that's not the end of what we do, right? Then we go to do something else. So far, not so far, when we do class and object, so still we have long way to go till class and object, but just want to give you introduction. In class and objects, okay, objects in class is a definition of object. Okay, we define what an object would look like. So for example, if you take human being as a class, right? So human being has sets of properties, right? Now, if I tell you if that I have a dog as a pet, okay, then there are few things that you're not going to ask me, like how many legs it has, right? You'll not ask me, isn't it? How many tails? You'll not ask. What you'll ask me, what is the breed? What is the color? Now, things which are different for every object. So class is dog, okay? And the specific dog that I'm talking about is an object, okay? So for example, apple is an class, okay? When you say apple, so there's something that comes to your mind, right? That's a class. When I say I'm eating an apple, it becomes an object, okay? Similarly, what we have done is we have defined, when you say string is a class, correct? String is a class which defines certain things. What are those things that we know? You cannot add to a string, you can only join to a string, you can print sub portion of it. So these are the, okay, functions that we operate on class, right? So for example, str1 is specific string. str1 is not generic string. I'm telling, if I tell you declare any string variable, okay, if I tell you declare any string variable, that becomes a generic. But when you create str1, okay, or value1 or whatever, name1, that becomes your specific object. So when you use a class, you have to use that like an object, right? Because dog, we all know definition, okay? Apple, we all know. But to eat an apple, you need to hold a physical apple. That is an object, okay? Similarly, here in programming language too, we have these classes. So if I tell you string, So when I say string, there's some certain things that comes to your mind. If I say integer, there's certain things that comes to your mind. That is the definition of class string, class integer, class whatever, right? But when you start using it, you create an instance, we call that an instance of the class, or the usable format is the object. Okay, so to use string, I need to declare a variable, right? Without that, I can't. I can give you Gyan. I can talk on it for maybe an hour or two. But to demonstrate, to show you how it works, I have to create an object, isn't it? That is what str1 means. Okay, str1 is str1 is the object of class string. Okay, so and again we'll discuss more in few now coming classes when we have a separate topic on class and objects. So okay, so now we're talking about specific object, which is str1, and it belongs to class string. Now string, I just said, is a collection of variables and functions. The functions, okay, is very much like the way we went to ignite print input. Only difference is those functions are inside the class. So if those are inside the class, I can't directly ask. Let's say if you have, if you have something inside your home, I cannot directly use it. I have to ask your permission and use it, right? So we have to ask the permission of class to use it. Okay. Some things you won't allow, some things you'll allow me to use. So again, we'll talk about when we go to class and objects, we have access modifiers, public and private access modifiers. Public is one that anybody can use. Private is you don't want anybody else to use. You want only your family members to use. Then there's something called as protected. Protected has extra visibility than private, but not as much as public. But in Python, the protected is not implemented. Okay, so in theory, concept is there, protected, but in practical, it is not implemented. So when you declare something as protected, it is exactly like public. In Java, C, C++, those three are strictly implemented. But Python, maybe in future version they could, but till now they have not done it. So you can declare something as protected, but it will not behave as per your expectation. Okay, it will behave very much like public. Okay, we'll discuss more on that when we go there. So now, as I said, class will have functions. Okay, one more thing to remember is the functions that are part of class. Functions that are part of a class, okay, are called methods. So you'll hear methods and functions. Now, in terms of declaring, using is exactly the same. Only difference is methods are declared inside a class. So if it is declared inside a class, they are methods. So to call methods, you have to take class permission. Okay. So to use string methods, we need string permission, right? And it is specific to the class. So functions are independent. Okay. Methods are within class. If you write functions, and functions will, again, functional class will do it once we finish our collection. So string, after that we'll do list, dictionary, tuple, and then we'll go to functions and then to class and objects. Okay, so we'll see how to create methods for a class. But right now we are using inbuilt class, right? We are using string, which is inbuilt class. So strings has methods. So when I say str1 dot, okay, all this MUC, count, find, lower, upper, is digit, all these are your methods. Okay, so these are the methods that we need to learn. Okay, yes, there are many. We'll learn some of them. We'll learn some of them which are very useful. Okay, now if you see, all the methods will have first keyword as self. Okay, this talks about the input values that it needs. Okay, so everything has self. Now, we don't have to provide anything for self. Self indicates that it is object level. It is specific to object. Obviously, we are saying str1, so that is an object. So it works with objects. That's what self says. But you see, apart from that, lower, upper, digits is upper. These doesn't take any parameters. But find takes parameter. Okay, count takes parameter X, start, end, etc. So we'll see how these are used. Okay. So first we'll start with these functions which are is. So you have is digit, is upper, is space, is alnum. Okay, so is like asking a question. So all these is, okay, will have answer as true or false. So if you run this object name, so object name is what giving you permission to access. It's a public. And when I say object dot is digit, that means you are checking if the object is only digit or not. So, the output of all these is methods are either true or false. Any questions so far? Okay, it could be true or it could be false. Now, is digit checks if the str1 has only digits. Okay, so if your str, so if you have entered only values, only numeric values as a string, okay, it is digit, right? Then you have is upper. Is upper checks if the all the letters are uppercase or not. Is space checks if it is only blank space or not. If it is only blank space, true. Otherwise, say false. Is alnum, okay, is alphanumeric. So it should have only alphabet or numbers. Digit will have only numbers. Alnum can have alphabet, number, but no special character. Like space, comma, all those things if you give, it returns false. Lower, okay, will convert to lower case. Title will convert into title case. Title case is first character is it treats each string as an sentence. So only the first character will be capital and rest everything will be small lowercase. Okay, so a title alphabet is alpha. We'll check only if it is alphabet. Okay, decimal will check if it is decimal value. Identifier will check if it is a variable name. Numeric will check if it is a number. Okay, if it is number. Digit, a digit is your different than numeric, right? We'll check if it is numeric. Printable will check if it is printable or not. I mean, if you do print, will it give you result or not, right? So let's say if you take some special character, okay, when you're typing here, probably that's not a problem. But when you read a text file and text file has some characters which cannot be printed, okay, some special characters, image kind of characters which you cannot print, so it will say it is not printable character. Okay, so we can check. So let's start with simple one. Okay, we'll start with, let's say, first cases. Okay, so we'll say uppercase. So is str1 uppercase? No, str1 is not uppercase, isn't it? So if I print this, okay, it'll give you false. Why false? Because we have G and E capital, right? But rest of the things are not capital, isn't it? So if I declare str2 equal to hello, how are you? Okay. Now if I say str2 is upper, okay, it's all uppercase. Yes, so you'll get true. Correct. Now if I can say, str1 and I'll convert this into small g. And when you run it, it is false. Okay, upper is false. But if I do is lower, okay, you'll get true. If I make this as capital G and then say is title, okay, you'll get true. Sorry, it's giving false. I think this should also be capital. Okay. Okay. Title case means, so there's a title and it's called, there's one more I'll tell you. We'll see when we go there. I think it's called capitalize or something. So title means every character of every word, okay? First character of every word needs to be capital for true. Okay, so G capital, E capital if you have something else. Okay, good evening, say everyone. So even E has to be capital, right? and then it is true. Otherwise, it is false. So, so you have this. Now let me declare str3 equal to, okay, instead of that, let's talk about an example. Let's say you want to find some an area of a rectangle, right? And you say length equal to int of input, right? And now you say enter the length. Okay. So what happens if I run it and I enter like 5t, 5t, right? So it give you error, right? Invalid literal, because 5 you can convert into integer. 5t, you cannot convert into integer, right? So it will give you error. Now, problem is when you're running a program and program gives you error, it stops there. As a user, you know, you cannot do anything. Okay. And second thing is, you know, things, this, the program might get crashed, or it is not what you expect. See, when you get error, you still want to give proper message, and even if you have to finish it, you want to finish it like a normal execution. Let's say you want to transfer money from your account to somebody else's account, and it went from your account, but before it could reach, there's a network issue, right? Network issue or something, the one link is not working. So it got deducted from your account, it didn't get credited to the other person's account, right? It will be hanging in there, and then it can take a lot of time for you to resolve that, because even bank people will not know where the money is, right? We don't want that situation. What we want is, if you start, okay, uh, transferring money, okay, it should make sure that it reaches in the other person's account, right? If it doesn't reach, it should come back to your account, right? It happens that sometimes things happen. So, but it should be back to your account maybe within seconds, right? So what we're trying to do is we want to, like, there's an error, so you can't move ahead, obviously, right? But like, for example, 5t, if user enters 5t, you can't move ahead, right? You can't do that. But at least you will end it in a fashion which is not destructive, right? You end it in a fashion where money comes back to your account, right? So it is still a failure, but it is not a big failure, right? It is managing the failure, right? What you call as managing the failure. So this is error, but you want to manage this error. So what I can do is, before I convert into integer, I will check if this has only digit. So I'll say if length, okay, if length. So what if length is digit? So length dot is digit. Now see, is digit is applied only on string. If you can't apply it on something else. Let's say I have a variable 1 equal to 5, where dot, you don't have is, okay? You have only bit length from bytes to bytes. These are the methods of integers, okay? But now we're talking about methods of string, right? So is digit is a method of string, and if it is true, that means it contains only digit. That's when you will say length equal to int of length, right? Otherwise, you will say print, invalid length value, exiting the program. So again, your program will end, but at least the user knows what happened, and you will know what you did, okay? And you get this exit code 0. Exit code 0 is important, right? It shows that your program has, we call it as gracefully exited, gracefully stopped, not stopped with error, right? I can end the session by just ending the session, right? But that's not graceful exit. Graceful exit is I will tell you that, okay, we'll end it. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye. That's how you generally end it, right? Abrupt end, you just stop it. I mean, okay, it's the same thing in if you see in a way, but that's not the same thing, because everybody should know that, okay, program is ending, right? There's an error. Okay, if there's error, you have to tell why the error, right? So you say that if there's error, we are still ending it, but this is more graceful. So so you can check if it is digit, then you end it. Okay. Now let's say you have a condition that you have to enter username, and username can have only characters and numbers. Okay, so now if you say enter username equal to input, enter username, right? Now you want to check whether this username has only characters and numbers or not, right? So this is what we have already done. I'm going to remove it and I'm going to paste this one there. I don't want to answer to length every time, right? So I'll move it here. Okay. So you say that in input username, right? I want to check if it has only a characters or numbers or not. So I'll check here. Print. Okay. And so before that, we'll say if username dot is alnum. Okay. If you want to check only alphabet, is alpha. If you want to check alphabet or number, you say alnum. If alnum, then if it is true, then you say username accepted, right? Else you say invalid username. Okay. Now see, these are, I told you, right? So logically it is all if else for loop only. What we are learning now is how to manage things easy. Now, if you did not know, okay, these functions, you'd have had to write long. We can do it, okay, but you'd have to write a long program, right? So read string and then check each character, right? And then check if it is in alphabet or numbers, right? Instead, you just call these methods which are there, which are efficiently created, written, and gives us the actual result, right? So we say that there's a properties called encapsulation, okay? Property of class, encapsulation. So encapsulation is, okay, that you don't have to get into details, right? You use what you know what you need. So I want to know whether it is alphabet or number or not. I don't have to know how it's working. So when you drive a car, the car, let's say it's a class, right? So to drive a car, you don't need to know how know what happens when you press accelerator, right? Or what happens when you put brake. You just need to know, okay, to accelerate, I need accelerator. To brake, to stop, I need brake. If you know this much, it is enough. You don't know the internal working. If you know, it's great. I mean, there's nothing like it, but I'm saying you don't need to know, right? So, for example, um, um, here itself, right? I don't need to know how, the is and num is doing. So these are the functions, okay? The car company will tell you, okay, this is the property, this is the accelerator button, this is the brake button, this is the steering wheel, okay? And you have to control using steering wheel, okay? They will not tell you because it's not required, okay? Now, it's not required, okay, one, and it will save your time, isn't it? So that's the property called encapsulation, that you don't need to see the details. It's hidden from the user, okay, which is good. It makes our program shorter, better, efficient. You focus only on is and num, right? Okay, so enter username and I enter hi there. Okay, error because we give space, right? Space is not a alphabet, right? We have only 26 alphabets. When you run it, it is say hello 123 username accepted, right? So this is alnum. Now you want to check, if it has. Okay, so I want to check. I'll put it here. Now let's say I have str1, which is hello. Okay, I want to check which is all character or not. So I'll say print str1 dot is alpha, right? And obviously it should be true, correct? It should give me true. And if I say str2 or 3 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 space. Okay, now I want to say print print str3 dot Okay, is space. Okay, it should give me true, right? If I write anything here and when you run it, it's false, right? It is space. So to check if it is space, okay, you need to use is space. To check if it is alphabet, you have to use is alpha. Now you have to see when you're using it, okay, 50% of the time, 60% of the time, probably you can use direct these methods, okay, mostly in the text analysis. But rest 40% of the time, you'll have to do some tweak. You know, you want the user to enter, okay, enter name. Now, name can have only alphabets and EHA. Can have only alphabet and space, right? It cannot have anything more than that, isn't it? So if I ask the user to enter a name, okay, how do I check if the name is valid or not, right? So I say name equal to input, enter your name, right? Now, okay, so here you can say if, tell me, how do I frame this? So are you
name dot
if name dot
is alpha and name dot is space,
and name dot is space,
then it is accept something.
okay,
Print
valid
something.
name, okay, or accepted, okay, as you said, okay, accepted, okay. Okay, so let's see if we do it. So if I say here Virat Kohli, it'll accept. Okay, it did not accept. Okay.
That is alpha. Else
Name is
but it is
alpha.
print I accept. Okay.
Okay, so see here, is alpha is also false because is alpha will not accept space. Space is not an alphabet. Alphabets are only
But
26
we
digits.
are saying space also.
Listen. Okay, so is alpha, okay, will accept only alphabet, correct? So this is going to return false. Is space will look only for space. Okay, is space will look only for space, right? So this will also give us false.
Both
False
are
and
false
false,
and false.
obviously, yes. Okay, so in this case, you have to iterate through each
Each and every
value,
character.
correct? Okay, and so what you have to say is for
If never I equals to
ch in
in
name, okay, and okay, so one more thing here. Now, okay, so you're iterating through name, okay, and checking if it is. Now, if you say, let's say we go for V, first one. V is alphabet, true. So this will be true. And is it space?
no.
No. So true and false will give you false.
And right, false.
Correct. So yeah, so we need to change it to or. Second change. Okay. Now, third thing is, how do you know? Okay, because if I run it, you'll get accepted, multiple times. Okay.
We need to give next character, it should go, right?
Okay. So it's saying invalid. Right? So because name, right? So I have to change it to CH. Okay. And let me give name instead of, yeah, okay, let's run it. No problem. So I say here AB space CD. So you're getting accepted. Okay. Now if I run it again and if I give AB dot CD, accepted, invalid, accepted. But I want one single answer, right? I don't want 5 different answer. So what you do in such case, okay? Now, in cases where you have, you know, even if you do 9 out of 10 things correct, because of one thing it is invalid, right? Now, if you see here, I gave C AB dot CD. AB is valid, CD is valid, but dot is giving you invalid thing, right? So what you do, okay, so mentally, okay, now if I ask you, okay, forget about program, if I ask you, is this valid? So how does our brain work? You'll say, okay, A seems to be valid, B is valid. Oh, dot, it's invalid. And you want to stop it there itself, right? You don't want to go beyond CD, right? See, moment you find something is wrong, you stop there. You don't need to go further. You agree? And just by looking at it is accepted, you will not stop. So in such thing, what we do is we create a flag, we assume that it is true. We assume that this is valid. Okay, so is valid, and I say true. Okay, now this becomes false the moment you find something incorrect. This becomes false the moment you find something incorrect. So what I'll do is, okay, here I will say pass, because it's of no use to me. I've assumed that it is true. So if it is true, if it is valid, I don't care, because I've already assumed that it is true. The problem comes the moment you get even one invalid thing, right? Even if you get one invalid thing, you can set it to
Is valid equal to false.
false. And now when you are here, you know that true means valid, false means invalid. Now you put a thing here saying is valid. Okay, you say
True.
print yes, valid name. Okay, and else you say
Invalid name.
yes. Invalid. So now when you say ab.cd invalid. Now if I run it and if I say ab space cd, okay, valid name. So this is generally called as a flag. Okay, this have a variable where it is you'll use it as a true or false is flag. Okay, now in fact, see what here I forgot, when you are done invalid, right, then you have to say break. You don't need to check further, right? See, it's checking. So I mean, it's correct only. It's not that it's giving you wrong result, but you don't need to check further, right? The moment you find that it's not valid, at full stop only, you will stop going forward. So that's what we are doing. The moment you see, uh, false, you stop here. You don't continue any further. Okay. So you'll have to use some tweak to get your answer. Okay. So this is it with ease. Okay. We'll move to the other part, which is without ease, right? So without ease, you have str1 equal to, let's say, how are you doing today? Okay, purposely have written. Let's see different outcome. str1 dot lower, print str1 dot upper. Okay, then you have print. This is not easy. Without means it will convert. Okay, dot okay, it actually keeps the one that you used before first on the top, capitalized. Okay, capitalized and title. So title, what we said was first letter of every word. Yes. So each word, right? Not character. First letter of each character is caps. Here, only the first character is caps. Okay. You run it, you get all this, right? So how are you doing today is what I have written, and see, it has changed to the format based on what we want, right? So lowercase, uppercase, capitalized case, and the title case. Okay. I want to break it into different words, let's say. Okay, I want to break it into different words. So you have something called a split. So split, okay, let's say, so I'll create a variable, okay, which will store the value of split. When you split it, it will return you the splitted content, right? So let's say I say split content equal to str1 dot split. Split will split. You have split lines also, will based on full stop it will break, but yeah, split is what we use often. So str1 dot split. Okay, now you want to see the outcome. You say print, okay, split, and you say split content, right? So what it did is it split it, right? And these are the content. How are you doing today, right? Now let's say I'll make this, okay, so we'll not make it, we'll do that. So when you say split, by default, it is splitting on the blank spaces, right? That's what we generally do. When you say words, we look at the blank space. But let's say I don't want to split on blank space, but I want to split on, say, O, okay? So I'll copy this and I will say split and I will say O, small o. Now you see, since we said small o, so this is not treated as a splitting point. Okay, so it'll go and up to D. That's what you see here, right? How are you D is up to one word. From here till next small o is another word, INGT. And then this is another small word. Correct? So if you don't, it will break on blank spaces, otherwise it will break on the character that you give. Okay, so now let's say, okay, so see here, I want to break on irrespective of the case. What should I do? So it depends upon whether you want to have one single case or multiple cases. If you want to have multiple cases just like this, then sorry, you can't do that, right? But maybe what you have to do is you have to split maybe again and again, right? So first you split and then iterate through this and split again, okay? Because you want capital O and small o to be different, right? So first you split here and then iterate through each of these. You know, you have got 4 words, right? Or 3 words, right? So iterate through each of the 3 words. Again, you split in capital O and then you combine this, you know, with the other one. Okay. Otherwise, okay, if you are not particular about case, and that's why you want to use either this or that, you know, you convert str1 into either lower or upper. So if you convert into lower, you use small o to split. So now you see, but sorry, temperature is going down here. It's getting cooler every day. Generally, you don't, you know, associate Hyderabad with cold weather, but the last few days it has been very, very cold. So, okay, here you're splitting on O, right? And first what I did, I converted str1 to lowercase. Then I use small o, or you convert into uppercase. So everything becomes upper, okay? And you convert into, you use capital O to break. Let's say you do not want to use first letter for split. For example, okay, I have O-N-E. Right? It will break on O-N-E also. But let's say I don't want to break on O-N-E, right? Then you convert into title case. And then you use small o, right? Title case will make first O as capital only and rest. So what I'm saying is, yes, you have this logic, use it based on what you want to do. Okay. Sometimes you might have to, you know, you will not need any other thing 50% of the time. you will not need, what you are doing is good enough. Rest 50% of the time, you might have to combine two things together. Okay, you might have to use if or loop to get your result. Okay, so this is split, but how do I join it now? Okay, so split content is this. Okay, and now I need to join it. Okay, so to join it, okay, I have to say join. So I'm saying print. Okay, so you put blank screen. Okay, okay. Now see, the output you see here is different than what you have seen so far. Anything, isn't it? It uses square bracket. This is called list, and this is our next topic. Okay, we'll talk about it next. But you see, list will combine. Sorry, will hold together all the splitted content, right? Now, if you have to do join, okay, it will take list only. So you have to provide list only to the join. But join is a string function, not as a list function, not a list function. We'll talk about list class maybe tomorrow. So this is not a list function, right? It's not a list function. It's a string function. So I have to create a dummy string and say join. Okay, and in join we pass the split content, and now when you run it, what happens? It joins together, right? So you see HW space ARU space U1 ding today, right? O is because what we did, we removed O. If your intention is to remove O, okay, this is the best thing. You split on O and then join it, it will remove O. All O's are gone. But no, I need O, right? Or I need space. If you, in this case, you need space. In this case, you need O when joining. Then you put whatever you want to put in between, you put. Let's say I want to remove O and add Z. So you say, so here this we removed O and now I'm adding capital Z. This is what I want to do. So say this. Or if you want to remove, put it a asterisk, right? Star or asterisk. So you get something like this, right? And if you want to set it to 0 or O, you do this. Make sense? So this is how you can split and join the text. Maybe for our analysis, okay, we will not use this much, okay? We are not doing text analysis, but yeah, when you have to do text analysis, then these are very helpful. Okay, so this is about split. Now replace. Replace count. Replace. Now let's say I want to, so this is str1. I want to replace you with you all, let's say, for example. So I'll simply say print str1 dot replace old and then new value, right? And then how many times you want to do. So let's create a new value itself. I'm going to say str2 equal to how are you doing? Are you okay? Are you coming? Okay. So here I have 1, 2, 3 U. So replace, and again the case should match. Okay. If you have small u and here if you give capital U, it will not work. So you'll have to run multiple loops to do that. Or if case doesn't matter, then you can convert into lower and then do replace, right? So whatever. But again, every methods is case sensitive. Okay, so it will look at the case and decide whether to edit it or not. Okay. So like for example, if I do not give this capital, if I give small ui, and here I'm using capital, so this will not be replaced. I want to replace you with you all, let's say you all or you all. Okay. Now when you run it, so see, did it work? No. str2, right? Sorry, not str1, because it did not find anything to replace there. See, how are you? This you did not change because this is small. Doing, are you all okay? Are you all coming? Right? So this is how you can do it. Now see, if I have to print, see, I've done so many things on str1 or str2. Okay, I'm printing the operation itself. But what about str1? Okay, if I print str1, okay, str1 is exactly the one that you give. Or if I say str2, it is exactly what you give. It does not get, whatever you perform upper, lower, that is only temporary. That is only temporary. Or you can save it as a different variable. If you want to replace, you have to say str1 equal to str1 dot lower, right? So str1 will be converted to lowercase and then replaced in str1. So str strings are, we call as immutable. Strings are, we call it immutable. Okay, you cannot edit it. Once you declare the string, you cannot change it. You can overwrite. Okay, you can overwrite. You can overwrite is what? Like deleting and writing again, but you can't edit it. Okay, so if I say this str2 here, and let's say I want to convert capital H into small h. So I cannot say str2 of 0 equal to h. You expect that rest of the things will be remain same and just O will become small h. No, you cannot do. Okay, exit code 0. Str object does not support item assignment. It does not support item assignment. You can't edit it. This is so I want to have rest of the letters same, just one letter changed. That's editing, right? You cannot do that. Okay, but what you can do is, okay, you can overwrite, I said, right? So overwrite means new value, str2 equal to. That means I'm creating a new value. And now I will say h plus, okay, h plus. Now rest of the thing I want from the old str2 only. So how to get everything except first character? You say 1 colon, isn't it? 1 colon till the end. So first 0 is gone. From 1 till the end will give you. Either, is it correct or not? And then you can use. So you can use your indexing knowledge to generate these values. Okay, so see, it became small and rest are same. I want to make this k okay as capital, right? So again, you have to read index from how to this space, then you put okay in capital, and then you have to read from here till the end. You have to write to one single, I mean, not one and one space is enough, but you have to write 3 different variables, right? So you can overwrite it, okay, but you cannot edit it. So this is accepted, but this is not, okay? I'll say not possible. Okay, so that's what happens is whatever operation we have been doing, upper, lower, replace, edit, all those things, it's giving you a new output. It's giving you a new value in your hand. But the original str1 is not affected. Original objects are not affected because it can't edit it. And list is different. List, you'll see that it actually affects and you can do that. Okay, so both of them have their own advantage, right? They have their own advantage. Okay, so this is it. There's one more. Okay, count. I want to count certain characters. How many characters are there? Okay, so if I want to count how many okay is there, so I'll say print str2 dot count, right? And count, I say okay. Okay, no, replace only, sorry. So by default, what happened? Every u is replaced, right? Every u is replaced, isn't it? Okay, you will. But I want only first occurrence to be done. So you say 1. When you say 1, one of the first occurrence of u is replaced, rest they are not replaced. Okay, if you do not mention any number, it will replace all. Otherwise, first, second, third, you say 1 for first. If you want 1 and 2 both, you say 2 here and you run it. Okay, so 1 and 2 is getting replaced. Okay, so this is your replace, then count. I want to count how many O's are there. Okay, you say count. So it will count you all the O's. So there are 6 O's here, small O's. Okay. Now you want to count between 4 and 10. Between 4 and 10 only you want to see how many O's are there. So you will say, okay, comma 4. Now if you want 4 and till the end, you will say 4. 4 till the end. You will get, okay, 5. So it's 4 till the end. But between 4 and 10, 4 and 10, okay, you get only 1, right? So you can count an entire string or in subset of string or say from here till there, right? Okay, so string is done, count is done, replace is done, find. Okay, last thing is find. Now again, see, count, you can give combination of word. So you want to find OU, okay? So you can say OU here. So it check for OU combinations. See, there's no OU combination between this value. So it will check for OU combination, right? You can give only O or OU. It will then look for OU. How many OUs are there? Set. Find is, it'll tell you the position where the value is found. So str2 dot find, okay, and OU. So it'll tell you the position where the OU is found. So 9 means the index 9, okay? So you see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it says OU is at 9th position. Okay, and of course, from 9 to depends on the number of characters. So it tell you that U is at 9th position. Clear? And you can use again, like, you know, from, I want to see from, let's say 9th you found, right? So let me put 10. I want to see from 10. I don't want to see, you know, up to 9. So it'll tell you after 9th, it is at 23rd position. After 9th, it is at, or after 10th, it is at 23rd position. So next OU, you will see this one is index is 23. This index is 23. That means the 24th character it is. Okay. So you can define starting value, you can define the ending between 24, right? Let's say between 10 and 22. I want to see between 10 and 22. You should get 0. Okay, -1 means I could not find. See, 0 means what? Position is 0. So if I had given 0, that means it is available at position 0. -1 tells you that I could not find. Okay, -1 is not last value. Okay, output is always in forward indexing value. So when you see -1, it means value is not found. Value is not in the string. Okay. If I had got 0, the 0 would have meant that, see, count will give you 0. That how many values present? 0. Count will give you 0. But find will not give you 0. Find gives us the position, right? The index. So it will say, you know, if you get 0, it means it is at the first position, which is not right, right? It's not there. So not there will give you -1. Okay. So with that, we finish our string topic as well. Okay, and yeah, tomorrow we'll start with list. Any questions? Very, very important, very powerful. Okay, but not so much in you know, when you're talking just about the numbers. Okay, data analysis mostly we talk about numbers, right? But very powerful when you do text analysis, right, or anything with text. Okay, so if not, we'll stop here.